Hey guys, welcome back to the Simple Car Guy channel. In this video, I will be installing the rear crankshaft seal as part of the BMW N55 engine rebuild project I've been working on. Over the past few weeks, I have bought or borrowed a lot of specialty tools, but this time I decided to install the rear seal without the use of any specialty tools, so if that's something that interests you, keep on watching. If you find this video useful and would like to support the channel, hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm and for repairing these complex beasts at home. If you aren't following this rebuild project, this engine has spun a rod bearing and needed a new crankshaft. I have so far replaced the crankshaft, sealed the bed plate, replaced the main bearings, rod bearings, installed a new head gasket, and valve, as well as oil pan gaskets. If you'd like to see any of those videos, check out the playlist in the description below. Anyway, back to the subject of this video. As with previous jobs I have done on this engine, the task itself isn't that hard. The hard part is getting to the part, or the rear crankshaft seal in this case. If your engine isn't out, the recommended path of getting to it is to remove the transmission from the vehicle by removing the stiffening plate and the exhaust system past the catalytic converter, and then disconnecting the main drive shaft at the transmission site. The transmission can be disconnected from the engine and dropped down. After all of that work, the flywheel can be removed and you will finally have access to the seal. Obviously, this is a huge job just to get to this part, but if your engine or transmission is already out and you have a leaking seal, it's definitely a good time to change it. I had it a little easier since my engine is on the stand, but the process is the same from this point on. First things first, we have to remove the crankshaft sensor out of the way and then remove the magnet wheel cover. To remove the old seal, you will need a small drill bit that isn't bigger than 2.5 millimeters and then drill a small hole without touching any metal surfaces. Then the seal can be removed with the help of a sliding hammer. I have done this without the tool before by just using a regular screw and then a regular hammer against a plank of wood that's against the block or the engine block to leverage it out of the place. Whichever way you go about it, make sure there's no residue or little plastic pieces from drilling. For anything tougher, you can use fine Scotch-Brite pad and brake cleaner to get it perfectly smooth. Now that we have everything ready for the new seal, you're supposed to use a special seal tool, but I decided not to buy one and use my own method, so that I don't have to spend the $300 for the install tool that I'll use once. Obviously, you cannot just hammer the seal in, as it would get damaged and wouldn't create a very good seal, defeating the purpose of replacing it. So what could you use to drive it in that's the same size as the new seal? Well, the old seal. I flipped the seal over and lightly tapped on it until the new one started to get seated on the crankshaft. Now, this isn't a quick method, as it took probably at least 15 minutes of light tapping and then not so light hammering to get it seated. I had to stop a few times until I reached the correct stopping point. It should be just past the change in height on the block. Alright, hopefully you guys can see a little bit better. This is how far the seal should go in. As you can see, there's like a little ridge in there, right there. It's very difficult to show me, obviously, for me to show you. But basically, you want to get it right behind that ridge, all around. So you tap a little harder, a little, less hard in certain areas until it all is perfectly in there. And let me show you one more thing. If we go to my old block, ouch, you can see that a little bit better. So you can see where that ridge is. That's the old gasket. So if you put it in, you can see how much it can go in. That's as far as it'll go. And obviously this is like a used and all kind of beat up now gasket. So we're trying to get as far as possible, obviously without crushing anything. And you can see it definitely blocks that sealant that we put in when we installed the bed plate. So should be good to go. Once the entire circumference of the seal is equally seated and will not move any further, you are done. The flywheel can now be reinstalled with the new bolts and transmission put back in. I hope this video helped you get your own rear crankshaft seal installed without having to buy any specialty tools, and if it did, let me know in the comments down below. Check out the rest of my channel for many more BMW specific videos, and I hope to see you in the next one.